Living Waters presents On the Box.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Monday edition of On the Box. We have a very special show tomorrow.
What does that mean
Thanks
about today?
for joining us.
So how was your weekend?
It was great. We had a Saturday and a Sunday. Saturday went to Huntington Beach, took my two dummies and Scotty. There was 4 dummies. We've got an Einstein dummy and Mr. Belvedere, and I've got footage that I'd like to show maybe tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
If Mark gets it together and can download it in time. But it worked. There were 40 people standing there staring before he even got up to speak.
Eddie was telling me, Eddie was out there with his evangelism
Yes, that's
class,
right.
and he was telling me that one guy said to him, he said, "There's a person in there, isn't there?" And he was afraid to walk up and to touch it, thought he was going to jump out at him.
And I was able to bounce off Einstein by asking Einstein trivia, such as, what nationality was Albert Einstein, and people call out and get $1, and then spell the name Einstein, remembering the great rule, I before E, except after C.
Unless your name is Einstein.
Yeah, it's just the opposite. So people laughed at me. And then one guy says, what was Einstein's theory called? And the guy says, theory of relativity. I said, explain it. And his face goes blank. But he's still got his $1. And then with Mr. Belvedere, the butler, I was able to bounce off that and speak of some people treating God as a divine butler and clicking fingers to make him come running when things go wrong. And it just doesn't work like that. So they are permanent members of our evangelistic team. Scotty and I doubled the size of our evangelistic team.
Now, do they help pay for parking?
They don't need to park. They're dummies. They just
Now you don't break these things down. I mean, they're one-piece dummies, right?
They have.
How do you get them around?
Perfect piece. Well, we were we had these 2 huge boxes that we put them in, and we were going to put them on the roof rack of Scotty's car. And then Scotty says, "Let's see if we can fit them in the car." So we pushed my seat up because I don't have legs, and it came up nice and close, and we're able to fit them in the car. And then so we took them in the boxes to Huntington Beach. Got the boxes, carried the boxes across, got them out of the boxes, put them up for 2 hours, put them back in the boxes, came back, took them out of the boxes, and thought, what do we need boxes for? Those boxes were a waste of time.
Well, maybe that's to keep the dummies clean.
No, we've got 2 plastic
This is a
bags.
weird conversation.
2 plastic bags that are going to work. So if they'd been in the middle, they could just sit and go in the carpool lane, but no, we'd never do that. Didn't even think of that.
I actually got a call one night working patrol of a suspicious person sitting alone in a vehicle on a residential street.
Sitting alone?
He's sitting alone. That does happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So it wasn't an unusual call. I thought maybe there was a guy out there staking a house or something like that looking to break in. So I pull up on the car, and sure enough, there's a guy sitting in the car, but he's sitting alone in the back seat. So that was kind of strange. So it was late at night. I was working by myself. I drew my weapon. Well, I'm going to go home at night.
Yeah.
Even if I have to,
Shoot a dummy.
shoot a dummy. No pun intended. But I walk up to the car, and I'm like, this guy's not. As I'm walking up, there's no movement. This guy is like stone cold, rigid, not moving. I thought, oh man, this is a suicide. And I walk up, but sure enough, it was a dummy. And so I go knocking on the door, and the guy opens the door and says, "What are you doing with the dummy in the back seat?" You're riding in the carpool lane, aren't you?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes. Don't ever do it again. I've got your plate. Yeah, people do that.
We used to have a dummy years ago, Lazarus. We took him to Santa Monica for years, and the neighbors used to stare when I was stuffing him in the trunk of my car for some reason.
The behind-the-scenes video
Hey, there's
for
Mark!
hey, here I am.
Welcome back,
the behind-the-scenes video for this week actually shows what those 2 dummies look like. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, you need to sign up for the newsletter or go to our YouTube channel, and you can see Mr. Belvedere. I would imagine it's going to change a little bit next week with the video that Ray just shot from Saturday, but you can see today. It actually goes at noon. I think the newsletter goes out. So,
Yes.
And tomorrow is going to be a special show. You did a very special interview on Friday.
Yeah, we can give a little teaser, can't we?
That's entirely up to you, so you're the boss.
One of the ladies that on our CSRs received an email, and she's been conversing with a lady who was going to have considering an abortion. She heard you preach on Huntington Beach about 5 or 6 months ago.
Monica, actually,
Santa
but I
Monica.
don't-
I'm so sorry. Have it.
Hannah
Monica. That's a cross between Huntington Beach and Santa Monica. Hannah Monica. Hannah Monica. Yes. Anyway, she listened to Tony preach, and then someone gave her was it you that gave her
someone on the team.
Someone on the team gave her a 180. She was secretly 3 to 4 months pregnant, considering an abortion. She watched the video in a car, changed her mind, and sent a photo of her baby, David, to us. And so we went out yesterday and filmed her because we wanted to get in first before she told anyone else, so we get her emotions, and we got some great footage. And so we should have that, within 2 or 3 years, depending on Eddie.
Eddie's watching right now.
Maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Let's hope we can get onto it straight away.
But she's going to be here at the ministry tomorrow along with her family.
Yes, his name's
so we're going to have her on the show.
It's Vanessa.
Vanessa, yes.
And her wonderful family that treated us very well, the camera crew and that. So
where are we going to put her? Wait, she's going to be on the show tomorrow?
Yeah, she's in your seat.
Yeah, we're turning your camera across. She's going to sit over there or sit there, her and David or whatever.
So Eddie's got it worked out.
She's taken over.
You have the day off tomorrow.
She's going to be in the deanette of the School of Biblical Evangelism.
The deanette.
Yes, tomorrow.
So what did you do this weekend, Mark?
Well, Ray was out filming, so he had the van. So we were late getting back, so I canceled my evangelism.
Ray or Eddie?
Wow.
Ray or Eddie. Actually, I canceled my teaching of it, and I sent somebody else out to do that. So I took my family out to Famous Chili's, and I was able to hand out some gospel tracts. And our waitress looked over at us and said, "You are the best group of people I've ever shared with." And I said, "You want to comp our meal?" And she did not want to do that, but she did give us a bunch of free coupons for the kids for next time we come in.
Wow, that's nice.
That was really neat.
See, Mark gets on really good with waitresses and waiters because he was a waiter for 9 years.
Speaks the language.
Yeah, he knows. So you want a compound meal. I got to remember that one. Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of neat opportunities.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Tony, how was your weekend?
Okay.
Oh, but I hadn't finished my weekend yesterday.
Go right ahead.
I'm going to get mocked, but we went to Big Bear.
Why would you get mocked?
Because I said beer.
Bear.
Bayer.
Bear.
Okay, we went to Big Bear up there.
I wasn't planning on mocking you. I understood what you were saying.
Thank you. Up in the mountains, had a great time. People very hospitable. They had a 180 Sunday, so I got to speak twice and had a great time.
Good. What was some of the feedback like?
There was no feedback.
Feedback.
Oh, yeah, great feedback. The people were very responsive.
There was no food back there. That's a Calvary Chapel. Every Calvary Chapel has food, doesn't it?
They didn't give it back, though.
Oh, they didn't?
Yeah. Anyway, it was a great time. They're very nice people up there.
Good.
Very cold. Not the people, the weather. There's a cold wind, Big Bear.
Sunday was nicer, though. It was clear skies, at least.
But that doesn't mean anything. It's 8,000 feet up. Freezing wind, cut you in two, but that bright thing was out. Just didn't have any heat to it.
Okay. Yeah, I went to Hollywood Boulevard on Saturday. Went out with a few people. Did some open-air preaching. Haven't been down there for a while.
Since your arrest?
No, I've been there since the arrest. But no, things are back to normal down there. All the musicians are out. All the costume performers are out. And even though it was a little rainy,
didn't they? They stopped them for a while.
They did. They chased them off when they chased us off.
Yeah.
And the business owners actually went to the city and said, we thought it would be a good thing to get all the preachers and performers off the boulevard, but now no one's coming into our stores.
Oh, interesting.
So we think we should rethink this. And so they did. And lo and behold, now it's open to us.
And everybody's
preachers.
happy.
Yeah, and everyone's happy.
Did you see Catwoman?
I did not see Catwoman.
Just as well.
I did see an Angry Bird.
Big Bird?
No, an Angry Bird. And you're not familiar with the Angry Bird game. It's very, very popular, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's something about Angry Birds. But anyways, one of the Angry Bird characters was down there on 3rd Street Promenade, or Hollywood Boulevard. I can't get my look at
Promenade.
Hollywood Pier. Anyways, but Friday, I had a really neat opportunity on Friday.
Tell us about that. I was reading about it. Was it on your blog?
It was on my blog.
Yeah, it's very, very moving.
I received an email Thursday night on the way home from Bible study from an old friend, and the email was titled something like, "I don't think you can do this." So I opened the email, and basically he's on the East Coast. We've been friends for a long time. We were sheriff's deputies together. I was the best man in his wedding.
It's pride.
Huh?
It's pride.
Yeah. Yeah. We went to seminary together, and he actually graduated and is now an associate pastor back east. And his dad, who's also a retired deputy, who helped to form the SWAT team for the LA County Sheriff's Department, dying of cancer, and an angry atheist. And my friend said, if there's any way you can go to the hospital and visit them, I just want you to know it'll probably be one of the worst experiences of your life. Yeah! But I went. And I got to the hospital, and the room was just filled with people. And so instead of going directly in the room, I walked down the hall, and I was scared. I was petrified.
I'm
I
scared.
don't blame you. That's the sort of thing that is scary. I'd rather speak to 1,000 angry atheists than have to go in and talk to an angry atheist that's dying. That you know it's going to be a difficult situation, especially if there's going to be relatives there.
Yeah. Well, eventually it dawned on me. Wait a minute. There's 2 beds in the room. And so I asked the nurse where this man's bed was. Was it up against the window? And she said, "Oh yeah." And then she said, "Are you going to visit him?" Like I was walking into something. She was surprised I was going to go into.
So
visit
is
him.
it a bad condition?
He was the day before. They looked like he was going, but it turned out they had him on too much pain medication, apparently.
Right.
So they cut that in half, and he was lucid. He was awake. He was coherent. I didn't have to repeat any questions. But I walk past the family that was visiting the other man in the other bed, and introduced myself. Told him who I was and my connection with his son. And before I walked into the hospital, I grabbed a Bible out of my trunk, and I signed an inscription in it that said his name, "Your son loves you," and then I signed it. And I put my business card where the inscription was so that he would see it. And so he opened that, read it, and was very thankful for that. And then I began to share with him. I started by sharing an analogy with him.
So the Bible was your little segue into the things of God.
Well, initially, I mean, he had never met me, and he had no idea I was coming.
Right.
I mean, to him, I was just showing up out of the blue.
Right.
And so I thought, bringing him a Bible, he would know right away, that I'm here for a reason. But the way I transitioned into the conversation is I used our common background in law enforcement, and he was one of these guys that everybody looked up to, respected, an old salt, like we would call him. And I said, look, if you were the field training officer and I was your boot, which is slang for a trainee, and I was one of those trainees who thought he had all the answers, and I was driving that night, we were working together, and you decide we're going to pull over a car, and you know that the man in that car is armed. Since I'm driving, I'm going to be making the approach on the driver's side. Are you going to just let me walk up to that car, or are you going to warn me about the danger that's in that car? And he said, well, I mean, if I didn't like you. And I said, well, look, I'm sure you were very professional, and since we're brothers behind the badge, you're not just going to let me walk up on the car. He said, yeah, you're right. So I pointed to the Bible, and I said, that's why I'm here for you. And, my friend expected his dad to kick me out of the room, for him to get very, very angry, and none of that happened. We had a really good conversation. It turned out to be a mini open air, because as I started talking about the things of God, the people around on the other side of the curtain started to leave the bedside of their loved one and make their way around to the other side so that they could see and hear what was going on. Nurses were coming in and out.
Wow.
So it was a neat opportunity to share the gospel.
So often Goliath isn't even there. We expect him, but he's not there.
Yeah, and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
God was there, though.
Yeah.
God was there. I
So
believe he was with
now
us.
you look back, and that warms your heart that you went.
Yeah.
And ours too. Oh, God bless you, Tony.
So, Mark, we're going to give you the first question since you have all the younger children's between the three of us. Do you believe that children ought to open air preach?
Yeah, sure. I mean, why not? If you feel that your child is sound enough, he knows enough to be able to share the gospel, then why not? I think it's healthy for anybody, no matter how old they are in the faith, as long as they have some sort of supervision, because you never know what some new believers are going to say and share. I think with the academy, we'll have the leaders right next to some newbies. A newbie is somebody who has never open air preached or is afraid to death to share their faith. And I would do that if my child wanted to get up there to share. I wouldn't push them into doing it, but if they wanted to do it, boy, I would encourage it, or even my wife, if she wanted to do it. I'd be right there and encouraging them on. I remember we saw, was it Justin Drake, Ray?
Yeah, I think it was Justin. Yes.
Boy, he was little at the time. He's not so little anymore. He was able to open air preach with Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, or Maria Shriver there inside the crowd. And I remember an individual looking over and saying, boy, that kid is brainwashed. And I responded, oh, yeah, it's already dirty. We got to clean it with something. And the only one that can clean it is Jesus Christ himself. So she gave me a weird look, and she ended up leaving. But I actually love the idea. My kids are so gung-ho. I can't get away with anything. If we go through a drive-through, they make sure that I hand a track out to the person. If we're out in public, they always ask for tracks. And it seems to me that the natural progression is going to be one of them open-air preaching. If they ask to do it soon, I might encourage them to do it. But I'm going to be pretty close by as a mother hen to make sure everything goes okay.
Oh, a father hen would have been a better analogy.
What do you think of that?
I'm the
Rick?
bride of Christ.
Yes.
What do you think of that? Kids open-air preaching?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I'm a kid. No open-air preach. I'm just in an older
How about
body.
chronologically?
That's right.
Those who are chronologically younger than you.
Yeah, if they're doctrinally sound, then they should make a sound biblically, I mean, with the gospel.
Yeah, and I think that's a key. I don't think parents should be putting their kids up on the box unless they are relatively certain that their children are saved.
Yeah.
We don't want them just parroting the gospel
No,
and not
it's
knowing
just something
what
a
they're
bit
doing.
weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be awkward. Okay. Phone evangelism. My name is Jordan, and I'm unable to get out of the house at the moment, but I really want to share my faith. I'd like to call random people from the phone book or looking up numbers from the internet, but I can't think of what to say when they pick up. Can you please give me some advice? Now, Todd Friel used to do this. Have you ever done this?
Todd Friel is amazing. He'd do it live on radio, and he'd call up and just witness to people. But, yeah, if I was housebound, if I can use that phrase, I would rig up a phone system where I'd just lie in bed and call random numbers and say, excuse me, I'm not selling anything. Have you got a few moments to talk? I'd like to ask you a very important question. What do you think happens when someone dies? And you haven't mentioned God, Jesus, the Bible, heaven, hell. Just asking their opinion, and who knows what could spark from that. Maybe 1 out of 5 conversations goes somewhere. So I would do it. Just get those thoughts in mind. So you're not selling anything. Just like a few moments of your time to talk about their thoughts on what happens after you die.
And what's the very worst thing that can happen to someone who's doing phone evangelism?
You could hang up.
So could they.
Yes,
but that's the worst thing, right?
Yeah,
The conversation ends.
Yeah, but I mean, you can always hang up. But if you freak out, you just go on the button and it's all over. You
Of
don't
course,
have
if they have caller ID, then they can, cross-reference your number, come over to your house and visit you. But
no.
No.
You call overseas.
Call overseas. That's right.
You start in France, so they speak English.
Mark, have you ever
I've
tried anything like
actually,
this?
I've actually hung up quite a bit on conversations like that, and I do it in the middle of a sentence to make it look like I wasn't the one that hung up on them. And I go, hey, that brings up a very good point, and I hang up. It's gone. This is what I would do. If I was homeward bound and I had to evangelize only by means of calling someone, I would call them up and say, hey, my name is Mark, and I'm taking a very, I think a fairly quick survey. I'm wondering if you have a couple of moments. It's nothing professional. It's actually just for my blog, believe it or not. But I'm asking people what they think will happen to them when they die. If you want to participate, it's nothing big. It's just for my blog, but want to get some people's opinions on it. You ever give it much thought? I mean, hey, what do you think happens after we die? And then allow them to roll the punches. They're going to hang up on you. They might answer. But it's something I think we need to do more often, especially with telemarketers. I think we get so caught up in taking our name off of the do not call list that we forget that these are great opportunities. I was recently over at a friend's house and a telemarketer called, and I didn't know that it was a telemarketer. I said, hey, you want me to get that? She said, sure. So I answered the phone as a telemarketer, and I go, hey, real quick, you got a couple minutes because I have to ask you a question before you get into it. And the person that I was with absolutely loved it. And I went over into the corner, began to share, and then the telemarketer hung up on me, which I heard is taboo. So we'll see.
Years ago, my name got put on a list of very rich people for Wall Street tycoon type people to ring. The Wall Street hard-nosed guys, stock exchange guys, trying to sell stuff. And so I had phone call after phone call from these guys that would say, Mr. Comfort, could I talk to you for a minute? And this real sort of fast-talking guys. And whenever I said they obeyed, I said, hang on a minute. I want to talk to you about something first. And they do what I said because they thought I was stinking rich. I don't know how I got on this list, and I got to witness to so many guys that moved from this, like, the high, fast-talking guy to this little kid in a corner just going through the commandments with me. It was a great opportunity, so try and get yourself on a list of very rich people.
Yeah, I've had some neat opportunities with telemarketers as well. They call typically around the dinner hour, and we'd like to take you through a survey. And I said, hey, I'd be happy to go through your survey if when we're done, I could take you through a survey. And that usually piques their curiosity, and So it's led to a couple of neat opportunities. So.
Hey, one of those telemarketers said to me once when they were talking to me, I don't know what it was about, but they said, would you like the best price for something? Oh, that's right. I called up. I was ordering something small I'd seen on television or something. And they said, would you like the best price? And I said, yes, please. And I just subscribed to a magazine called The Best Price. Dirty rats. I got it in the mail. I sent it back. I think I got my money back. But boy, that was rotten. Would you like the best price? Absolutely.
We're going to skip a couple of segments here. I want to make sure we get to this today. The 180 baby replica is now available.
I didn't bring one with me. Have we got a video?
You do. Yeah, you're going to do a voiceover on it, remember?
Let's see if I remember what it's about.
Well, here comes the video, I think. Fire. There it goes. Okay.
Oh, yes. I did this on my computer, I think, before we had the little dolls. So it's a wonderful little... Stay still. Who's doing this filming?
You!
Yes, there's the tract. Whoops. I know why it's fast. It's because I did this with my phone, and I only had 18 seconds or something, so it's all over. There you are.
Well, what's your phone number?
We've got this wonderful little replica of a 12-week fetus, as they call it, and you can see it's a baby. Man, I wish I had one here. I could take it up and show it. Maybe we'll show it tomorrow, and you can see it in depth. So this has just been a little wonderful teaser for you.
I feel teased.
Yes, I'm really teased.
But the replica is available through Living Waters, along with the new tract In the Womb.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And
it's a great tract.
Outstanding tract. You want to talk a little bit about that? How you got the idea for that?
Yeah, I might get sued if I do.
No, I think
you get away with it?
No, I think. Well I'm sure we settled all that before we produced the tract, right?
Yes, we did.
Right,
Ron?
Right?
You just don't want to stir up stuff. If you do a review of something in a magazine, you can use images from the video you review or the book that you review. So I reviewed National Geographic's video called In the Womb, and I used their graphic under fair use law. And so it's got a secular source that you can point to that shows what a 12-week baby looks like in the womb, even though I got another picture off the internet. They've removed that picture from the government site since I grabbed it, which is very interesting. But they're fair use. That means you can use something under that auspices, if I can use that word.
Yeah, auspices is a good word.
I don't even know what it means.
That's okay.
That sounded good.
Mark, what's a good tract to place in different places at a grocery store?
You know, $1 Million bills, you can't go wrong. I just absolutely love them. You know, I was doing that this week inside of the store and also inside of a restaurant on Friday night. I was putting them inside the menu, placing them there and letting them go their way. And there we have the person that I was with was following the menu, actually, when it went that way. And they said, oh, look, that person actually took the track out, looked at the track, smelt it, held it up to the light, and was trying to examine to see if that $1 million bill was real. I mean, I loved it. I love working smarter instead of harder. Well, I do that inside the grocery stores as well. The $1 million bills are phenomenal because they're such an attention grabber. They grab a hold of your attention, and you don't want to leave because there is no tension with that $1 million bill. So place them inside cases of beers, put them inside other areas, magazines. They're absolutely great. I wouldn't stray away from there, and they're fairly cheap. You get 100 of them for like $6, $7, $8 or so.
$5.
$5. Wow.
I think it's $5.
Now, Mark, you've told the story before. I don't know if the show on the show or not, but certainly at the Academy, about a call you received here at the ministry about a $1 million bill stuffed in a pack of beer.
Yeah, in a case of beer. You know, yeah. When we were in our other building, I got a phone call from someone saying, hey, what gives you the right to put this blankety-blank piece of paper inside my beer? And, I mean, that could be a number of people. We sell millions of these tracts, right? So I had no idea if it was me, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was me because I love doing that. It's one of my favorite places to place the $1 million bill. That is inside cases of beers. So this guy calls up. He says that. What gives you the right? Who are you? And I said, my name's Mark. And I said, what does it say? He goes, well, it talks about Jesus and stuff. I go, well, what does it say exactly? And he read the entire track to me over the phone. That means he's read it twice, once on his own and once to me on the phone. And I said, yeah, that's probably me. If not me, one of my friends that I've never met. So, yeah, you want to heed that, and I think it's great. Think of creative ways. In fact, if you come up with some creative ways to hand out tracts or places to stash those tracts, let us know. We're always trying to tell other people about those. But if you have a favorite place, send that to us. Yeah, to ontheboxoflivingwaters.com, ontheboxoflivingwaters.com, on the box.
Oh, see, you faded
mocking.
Too fast on the third one. But it was a good try.
And you won't get into trouble by leaving tracts in stores. You're not violating any law. It's not like you're stealing stuff. Remember once I was in a store and they had this filthy calendar there, so I turned it around the back as I walked off, and I looked back, and the back was worse than the front. I had to go back and turn it back to the front, which was not a good feeling. Yeah.
All right, how about, is it all right to hand out tracts across the street from a school? Yes. Next?
Yes.
No, it is. It is. In fact, if you go to heartchanger.com, you'll find a document on that site written by the Alliance Defense Fund that talks about your right to distribute materials on public sidewalks, not only across the street from a school, but directly in front of a school.
Yeah.
Now, you know, if you're a guy our age all by yourself, I would hesitate standing in front of an elementary school or something like that.
Nowadays.
You know, parents are going to be concerned, the school's going to be concerned, and so the best thing to do really is, instead of standing directly in front of the school, is to do a little recon, find out when the kids get out of school, junior high, high school age, and see what routes they take away from the school.
We did that at Bellflower High School, and boy, did we get a flood. It was like the Red Sea.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, and so just stand at a nearby intersection where you know a lot of the kids are going to go, and hand out your tracts. But you want me to do that? You want me to introduce Alvin Colston and Eric Garcia?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
I just did.
Good.
Yeah, they are from Bethel Grace Baptist Church. They are here for a free lunch.
Yes.
Woo!
Is it a lunch? Is the pastor's
No,
lunch? Oh,
no.
good. Okay.
Eddie and I are going out to them.
Who
out
says
with
there's
them
no
to
such
lunch.
thing as a free lunch?
There is a
Yeah,
free lunch.
yeah, we reckon.
Yeah,
Jesus,
you're paying for it today. So.
Jesus ruined that whole thing years ago.
He did?
He gave a whole free lunch to 5,000 people. There is such a thing as a free lunch.
We're trying to work out a debate. Alvin and his church are trying to work out a debate between Matt Slick and an apologist for the International Church of Christ. Yes, the cult that we see at Cerritos College.
Yeah,
all
they're
the time.
often very angry.
They can be. They
Yeah.
can be. But one of their tenets is that you must be baptized to be saved. So they're preaching a different gospel foreign to the Word of God.
Right.
And so we're trying to set up a debate between Matt Slick and one of their apologists. But so far, all the apologists for the International Church of Christ have chickened out!
That's because they found that Matt is slick. That's why.
Well, Matt Slick is
Ba-dum-bum.
slick. Matt Slick is slick. Anyways, if you know of any International Church of Christ apologists who have the guts to come out to Southern California to debate Matt Slick on whether or not baptism is required for salvation, email me on theboxoflivingwaters.com, on theboxoflivingwaters.com, on theboxoflivingwaters.com. We're out of time, and I'm hungry.
Gone.
Until tomorrow, be encouraged, strengthened, and unafraid. Don't miss tomorrow's show. We're going to have Vanessa here talking about her experience after
And David.
watching 180.
David's
And
gonna be
baby
here.
David is
Yeah.
going to be here
He doesn't say
as
much.
well. Proclaim the gospel. See, I didn't forget my own gospel.
Very slick.
You're full of it! Living Waters presents On the Box.